So before harvest, chopping, third crop, everything, we got a little bit of time here. We're going to rebuild this corn head. Now we bought this corn head 2 years ago now, used a sight unseen at Illinois. And I think the reason why we got it so cheap is because the head was wore out, which it is, but we ran it for 2 years, so it really doesn't owe us much. We didn't stick really much in it. So we're putting new deck plates because they're wore out. They're real wavy and they're supposed to be straight. We're going to upgrade to Kalmar deck plates, which we bought and paid for, and their slow down sprocket kit. We already got this sprocket off, and I got to take this sprocket off. And then we're putting just regular John Deere new gathering chains on. So new sprockets, deck plates, and gathering chains. Which the gathering chains with the sprockets will have a slowdown kit on it. And then since this head's from Illinois, it's flat, they usually can run faster, so they need their heads running faster. But we're up here in the hills where you can't combine as fast, so I guess I'll walk to the other side. We gotta switch some sprockets around on each side of the head to slow this head down. It's just cruising too fast. So we gotta put the big sprocket up here and the little sprocket here. That way we can slow the head down even more, because it's just going too fast. And then we're getting a lot of head shelling, a lot of trash in the head, and about everything up above. So we already got this side shield off. It's supposed to be an oil bath in there. So one of these chains were just stupid loose when we finished up last fall. This one, we haven't loosened this up at all. That's how bad it was. I don't know how it didn't fly off the sprocket. It could have easily fell off. Like I said, we haven't loosened this one at all. This is how it ended last fall. So that one's bad, real bad. But all new parts, the 400 acres of corn we got this fall. So couple day project. Since we don't have all the parts yet, I think we're going to take 5 rows apart today. We're going to keep one row together. That one we're putting everything back together. If somehow we can't get it figured out, we can just look at that row that's still together and we'll know how to put it back together. Hopefully. So yeah. Essentially there's just a bolt here and 2 down here, and then you can take this whole thing up and pull this deck plate out, which looks just like this. You can see that wave there, and then all along here it's wavy. They're wore out, so that's why the head was so cheap. Well, we got 2 years out of it, so that's pretty good. Here it is a couple hours later. Everything tore apart, and just covered in dirt. But took the wire wheel, cleaned some of the stuff up. You can see the difference. I'm halfway. But there's all that old deck plates, sprockets, and gathering chains. And we found some new problems. So, yeah, there's 3 of them. This one's the worst. That's out, the bearing. And then that one has a little weeble wobble. That one's just starting to weeble wobble. So yeah, but we even took just all 6 rows apart because it'll be a couple days before we get the parts we need. But we had to do some modifications because this head must have been built on a Friday, because the bolts that hold them plates on for the gathering chains, there was 3 of those where the nut is supposed to be welded on the bottom side, like this one is. You can see the threads, and 3 of those, the bolt broke that holds the nut. So basically you have to jimmy a socket. Actually, this is one right here, between this plate and that roll, to get up in there to get it. This one, there is no room to get a socket in, so we literally had to just cut it off. Don't know how we're gonna get the new bolt in, but we might just have to cut a hole in the side over here to get a new one in. Because one of these, I don't know which one, this one right here, see how there's a big hole right here? And the other ones, there's not. That's because this nut, they must have needed a wrench on. Even though it's still in there, they must have welded it back on. But, junk. So when this is the fourth nut that broke, but it was on the chain tight. So we had to take a grinder and cut in there so we could get a wrench on that nut. Don't look pretty, but John Deere, they seal it in there like the nut is welded on the inside, and then they build everything else around it and weld it. So whoever was welding this day, they would have put more welds on them nuts. We wouldn't have this problem. But that's what it is. 4 of them on this damn thing. Just made it a heck of a lot more pain in the ass. So we'll probably have to take, I don't know how you put a new bearing in these. I'm assuming you got to take the whole row off the head. We're going to figure that out tomorrow. Anyway, we got these sprockets flipped on either side. So yeah, and you saw we had to take the snoots off because we need to put a bearing puller and pull every single one of these off. We could probably put the snoots back on, and then these 2 are laying here because I got that wires for that auto header height. And to undo that, there's about 3 clips you have to undo on it, take off underneath the snoot, and then unplug it. So it's just easier to kind of flip it out of the way. But we made good progress. Then during oats harvest, speed sensor didn't work. We've had this problem before. This wire up here, way back in here, is broke. I can see the butt connector right there. It broke about 1/2 inch from where I fixed it before. So gotta fix that again before corn harvest. And then this feeder house shield right there, we was putting this corn head on. It hit it just right and ripped it. So we're gonna have to either get a new shield for the combine feeder house or take the bolts out and put big washers and then retighten. We also got a couple of these ear savers to put new on some of these snoots before harvest as well. So good thing we're starting in August because this is a lot of freaking work. Got the wire fixed. I'll show you what I cut off. So let's see. Back there you can see that butt connector, red wire connecting to like a, I don't know, green colored wire. That's where it broke. Right here. Looks like a mouse chewed it. Let's see. Here you could say, oh, it just ripped off, but then you see this, and a mouse chewed it. So the mouse chewed that wire off right at the end of the butt connector, and if it wasn't there, it was going to be here soon. And it is way back there. So you're in front of this hydrostat, or whatever the hell this is, transmission crap, and if my arms were any shorter, I couldn't reach up there and fix it. So I cut this piece out, and I spliced in a new piece, and then I spliced it to the green wire. Maybe I should have just put a whole new wire in again. I don't know. I'd have to run it from this green wire here. Last time I fixed it, I put a whole new wire in, but lasted about a year. The thing is, when we were working on this combine for oats in June, speed worked, but we went to combine oats, didn't. So it was summertime when they chewed this wire. So hopefully it'll last again forever. I know it won't, but another summer or another year will be fine. So before I put all this back together, which is this shield and these shields up here, I'm gonna get the combine and just move it very slowly forward and backwards to make sure that numbers read before I put it all back together. And the feeder house is locked, so it doesn't fall on top of me. I'm underneath the feeder house and the head right here, so right at the rock trap. Oh, would you look at that? It works. Well, that's one job done. We got a hell of a lot more to go. Well, it's day 2 and we got to take these row units off, 3 of them. I already got this shaft pulled out. So essentially comes from the combine into here and it goes into here where it drives 3 row units. This side also drives the main auger, but that side don't. Here's the shaft. There's a slip clutch chain for that thing, bearings. So we'll take the other side off real quick. So this side should be a lot easier since I don't have to mess with a chain on the auger. So well, shit. Here we go. I actually found the other nut. I got the silicone broke loose. Should be able to pull this shaft out. There we go. Ooh. Got to take the shaft off to get the row units out. Now that's the right side of the head, so I'll put this one on the left. I'll go grab some other parts, the bearing. So fun. Next I gotta take this off, but over there. Actually this one too. Because the N2 row units, there's each bearing out. Then this row unit, there's one bearing out. So we're gonna take them off, take in the deer, have them put the bearings in, and then we'll put them back on the corn head. Also got to take these out too, which hold the snoots on, I believe. So a lot of work. Whoops. I hope if you know have it going the right way. Mud. Yes, I know we need impact sockets. Yes, I know. So I was filming us taking this last row unit off, but I go back to the camera and it stopped recording. So anyway, we did bend this plate a little bit, but we can bend that right back down the floor. So you can see where the row unit was sitting here, here. 3 of them had a bearing out, like I showed you earlier. Well, I figured why I stopped recording, I ran out of memory twice now, so I deleted a bunch of stuff. Anyway, we got the rows off, and the bearings are out on here. This is where it drives the gathering chains at. So also, like I said before, I took these pieces off. They hold the snoots on. There's just 4 bolts, and it falls out, you get to them underneath. That's what a corn head looks like with no row units on.